Welcome, welcome to episode 4 of Heart to Heart Conversations. I always get a lot from these conversations, have so much fun. And today we have a beautiful, dear soul friend that is on her journey of deepening her experience in living from the heart. And welcome, Heather.
Thank you, Lucia.
So glad you could make it today, and I'm so happy to be with you. What would you like to share about yourself today?
Hmm. Uh, yeah. Um, well, I never expected I would be here in my life right now. Um, I had planned to, be a mother of three and a wife and a nurse and, you know, live out this American dream. Um, be married like my parents and have grandchildren and I never imagined I'd be single, uh, gypsy, nomad, whatever, home free and unemployed. And I mean, really just the antithesis of everything I had planned.
Yeah,
My kids are independently living as adults in the world. They're doing their best and they're each amazing in their own right. And I feel really honored and blessed to have raised them and contributed to I don't know, the contribution that they are for the world. And yeah, so I feel like I'm in the middle of my life right now and kind of in this little bit of a dip, and it coincides with this, I don't know what's happening in the world, what's really going on. I feel like I'm a bit lost and also not lost at the same time. Uh and I mean lost and also more at peace and also um more living in rhythm with myself. Um so uh you know that's basically the heart of it. I mean, I can go into all the details of like where I've come from, you know, my training and the things that I've done and experienced, but I don't even know if that's really important.
isn't it funny how sometimes that just the importance of the significance of that can dissolve when you're really on a path of living from the heart and really living each day, that the identity and the performance and all the training of what you did and the idea of what you did before and all the like the the um, the certifications and the importance of all the work, it starts, I notice it starts to dissolve, and it has less priority over my mind as I'm moving more into my heart, as I recognize it's this ability to be here now in the presence of what uh, the presence and what it takes to be present. So it's interesting to me to have a little bit of a history, like where you've come from and where you are now, and like what you're experiencing from where you are now. So maybe people have a little bit of a context of you and your history, if you're open to that.
Yeah. I mean, I was a good student as a kid and was a good girl and also um learned to, I don't know. I was exposed to some things as a young adult, like the material world, in terms of like my boyfriend and my friends were very well off. And so I was exposed to a world of like materialism that I didn't have growing up. My childhood was very like middle class, and there was some financial um stress always present that I was present to, and frustrated by. Um, and so I decided to leave the house early. Well, not early, but just I I ventured out into the world and explored the world more so with other families and boyfriends and such. So I got to travel that way. And but I followed the rules. I was sort of a rule follower and got good grades and got into a good college and got my nursing degree, and then got married and because I had a baby in my stomach, and I wanted to have children in the worst way. And this sort of the family maternal history was, early motherhood. So I did all that, and I was successful, and I got a house right away. We bought a house right away. Like when I was 22, bought my first house, and anyway, and I got the job that I wanted. I wanted to be a pediatric ICU nurse. So I was a student nurse when I was in college, and then I just moved right into the role that I wanted. And then I wanted to kind of focus on being a mom, so I did that for you know um, the rest of the kids were young. So and then I realized that I was getting more and more depressed, and so then I was turned on to a Wayne Dyer book and started meditating, and then I realized that there's like more than one of me. there's there's more than one of me, and it blew my mind. And then I started to yeah, just realize that there's a whole world of mentalism that I didn't know that I wasn't. I thought I was my feelings. I thought I was my thoughts. And it was a very dark and frustrating and miserable existence. And so when I realized all that, I just dove deep into it and wanted to become a yoga teacher, blah, blah. And it changed my whole world. It broke up my marriage, and then I just wanted to know more and more. And so it's been since then, like just going deeper and deeper into myself and learning about myself, learning about healing, learning about different types of, uh, I mean, this word healing is, I don't know, it has a thing for me. I don't know. I feel like I can also relate to the heroine's journey, and I feel like I'm sort of coming around uh, into the later part of that and learning how to be more balanced in the yin and the yang aspects of myself, and taking all the experiences that I've had and learning how to, yeah, just balance everything. Uh, and I think that over the years, though, you know, there's been a lot of hardships, being homeless, being broke, having to go through another divorce, having to go through abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, and um, uh, bankruptcy. And, um, you know, I I think that those types of things help to establish like your own resilience and courage and bravery to 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 release all these attachments that we have pulling on our hearts, or distracting us from our hearts. Um, and because it's not easy,
No.
and it's not easy.
No.
And I don't know if I actually know that I signed up for this or, who knows?
Yeah.
Uh, but I do know that um, it's been worth every minute because the quality of my relationships now are so much different. And my relationship with myself, of course, which is the primary one, is um, so much different, you know. So, um, and the quality of my days are so much different. And yeah, life, I would say life is way more colorful and fulfilling and yeah, um, and interesting.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing all that. What was the moment where you decided I just can't do this anymore this way? And what was the like? Was it the book or that you read, or what? Was there a moment for you when you're like, enough is enough? I have to try something else, or was it a
I
gradual
didn't,
process?
yeah, I think that that first time I meditated was a significant shift. It was like a radical new awareness that changed everything. Um, and then it's been a couple times where I've had these radical awakening happen that changes everything. That changes everything. Uh, and it's sort of like I think you open up to wonder because things don't make sense anymore. The way that you r- r- look or perceive the world, they don't make sense because of what you just awakened to. Um, so it's not like you can go back. Can't you can't go back. Like it's I
One
mean
way street, baby.
I mean you can try and people talk about I think people talk about these things called looping and stuff, like you get caught in old patterns. But to me, I feel like it's more like, like a DNA strand. Like you're going around in loops, yeah, but you're also coming each time with new awarenesses. So you can't actually repeat the same thing over and over again. It's impossible, right? Like it's always going to be different and
Yeah,
on some level
yeah. I see it as a
unexpanded.
spiral, like a spiral of
Yeah.
evolution. So it's kind of one of those slinkies that they're not going the same circle. It's just one, and then it goes down one. It's kind of like a
Like the DNA.
yeah, exactly. It's a good way
Yeah.
of putting it. DNA strand. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, um, yeah, it definitely is not easy.
What are some of the challenges you find living from the heart and living this way that is true to your spirit?
Some people don't understand, especially some of the people that are closest to me, like family, kids. They see me from the outside and things look like I'm being careless or dangerous or threatening. And that's hard to live with because it's hard. It's not like you can explain to someone how it is that you're operating your life when you're trusting in the unknown because we're all designed and conditioned to run our lives on the opposite,
Have a
to
plan.
rely on
Yeah.
our mind and plan and yeah. So it's not normal. And I can surround myself with people who live this way too, and that makes it a little easier at times, and also to help regulate my nervous system. And then there's also, I believe, you know, I don't really know if I believe that there's this thing called free will. Um, I don't know. I still haven't decided if I want to believe that or not. Um, because sometimes I believe that I would never choose some of the things that I've chosen um to learn through. I believe on some level my soul is like a seed and it's chosen certain experiences, and there's way too many intricacies and too many things that I cannot control going on in reality. It's like infinite. Um, that I feel like we're more so when we live from the heart, letting go of any um notion of like, well, I'm gonna do this and get this result. Because I mean I've tried it so many times. I mean, even just, last week, or planning on something, and um or like even working with my higher self, like I've been doing this thing like, I go into my imaginary. I think I told you, I went into my imaginary workshop. Remember, I don't know, and I'm like, yeah, I need to figure out this financial situation, and so I'm gonna have a meeting with my higher self in the workshop, whatever, you know, and so the higher self, well, I was given this opportunity to go meet with um an executive of, and I was like, yeah, sounds like a really good opportunity for me, and this is something where I could really contribute everything that I've learned, and it sounds great, and like, and it turned out to be a complete test, and disappointment and heartbreak and uh confusion and frustration, and it was not something that I would have chosen.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, anyway, so yeah, even though we think we're making the best decision, it might not turn out the way that we intend. And I think it's still for our highest good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would have never chosen to have that experience, put myself in that situation, but it still happened. And now I can look back and say, all right, well, I can see that that was for my discernment, or to help me refine um and heighten my truth, to listen to my truth and listen to my intuition more.
Did you have an intuitive hit to not move forward with this situation or person?
I did.
Mm-hmm.
I had, yes. There was some, I don't really know. So my spidey senses were definitely turned on. And yeah, I wasn't surprised. Um, so yeah, I think it's also about learning to trust in these things,
Yes.
and to also trust that we can say no, and trust that when we say no, that doesn't mean that an opportunity is going to show up. Do you know what I mean? Like, the opportunities will still show up. Yeah.
The opportunities will still show up that are in alignment with what's true for you. And this is what I'm realizing is that there's a gift in saying no to the people that aren't aligned or I don't feel like have my best interest at heart. And then there's also a gift of saying yes when I feel like that maybe it's uncomfortable because I need to grow, or I need to show up in a way that I'm not used to, or I need to be seen in a way that, I might feel uncomfortable, but um, therein lies the opportunity to expand and grow myself. And and it's funny because these signals uh, in the body, when there's, I was actually writing a list about living from the head and living from the heart, and how different they are. And ultimately, the mind, or the way we think logically and stuff, has its purpose. When it can really be in harmony with intuition, or it can be in service to the bodily signals that the intuitive hits that we get, or like, you know, the part of us that wants to keep us safe from harm, for example, or from getting into a sticky situation that isn't, um, there's an alignment with truth, that there is an ulterior motive, right? That, or wishful thinking that maybe if I do this, I hope then that this is going to be the outcome. So it takes us away from the present moment of just really being here, having good intention, and saying, okay, if it works out, great. If it doesn't work out, great. But at least I showed up to the full of my ability in my own integrity, right? And I think this is the difference between living from the head or the mind and living from the heart, is that it releases the attachment to how it's going to look.
Yeah, absolutely. And then sometimes, so for instance, um, I've just noticed that without efforting or without pre-planning, or so let's just say the difference between planning my day today for this call from the heart versus from the mind, right? I have it on my calendar, right? I have that on my calendar. I know it's coming, but I didn't like think about my outfit. I didn't think about like what I needed to get done before getting here. Really, I just got up and I was listening to my intuition and like did my morning routine, and I took the dog for a walk. I wasn't planning on going for a skate, but I decided to go for a skate, and took the dog, and then I came back, and then I just got ready, and like this okay, this was my friend's. She had it in the closet, like random, and like I didn't even, it's just like things just show up to uh to show you that you're living harmoniously, like. And I had this thing, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna put this thing on because it's hot out, and then uh anyway, it's just like little reminders of that, or symbols that you see when, especially when I've been noticing, like, let's just say I meet a person, and like they're wearing the same color things, and there's harmony there, or like, this has got yellow and there's yellow behind me. I didn't plan on sitting here and like mapping it. It's just like those little details, like, and that actually happened the day that I met this person, and I was, challenged, that it wasn't the right fit. There was all of these symbols and these synchronicities. We were wearing the same colors. It was the same color as the car. And like, it was like some things in the conversation were showing up in the material world. And she was even like pointing it out to like try to convince me that this was in my best interest to move forward. And in my heart, I knew it wasn't. And so I had to, at that moment, discern even more, like I can't rely on the external signs, like the signs or symbols, that this is actually in alignment for me. I have to trust my heart, even though it's disagreeing with the harmony that it sees outside.
Mm-hmm.
Because on some level, all that harmony in the material world is from the past. And what's happening in the right now is the only thing that's true. You know what I mean? Because like for this thing to be formed happened like how I don't know how long years ago for it to be here. Like this is old. It's like, you know, so that's what I got out of it. And oh, there's such a gift in that, you know,
Yeah.
refining to go beyond what what society or what even people in this like whatever space you want to call it would say like if manifestation, well you know you'll see signs and trust anyway. You got what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a really interesting study that I've been just exploring, just what it takes to really live in the heart and what I need to let go of. Um, and the way I be, my state of being, even my mindset, like, oh, I can trust it, it's all going to work out. Even I don't, part of me doesn't know, there's a part of me that knows it's all going to work out. And it might not be how I want it to work out. It might not be how I even think it's going to work out. It may be, it works out how I could never have imagined it work out. But if I have a good intention and I set my energy towards this intention and I feel it and I speak it and I share it and I put it out there, you know, and it's specific enough to people for where people can understand what I'm needing or wanting or creating, the universe is gonna support it because it that's what it does. And it also supports what I don't want if I put my energy there. So I think the one of the key components that I've recognized as really being powerful and living from the heart is is setting an intention and getting really specific about what I want. Most people I work with know what they don't want, but most it's very hard. It's kind of like a journey in itself to learn what I do want, what people do want. And that in itself can be an unraveling of all the conditioning of what I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to do and how I should act and how I shouldn't act and what's appropriate. And, just this whole unraveling of the conditioning and the patterns that have come before this moment that I can actually say, no, this is what I would like to create, and this is how I'm going to be because, and that's enough because I choose it.
Well, I mean, I do have that the intentionality thing hasn't always worked for me.
Yeah,
Hasn't always worked for me.
yeah,
Um, and I don't know, maybe that's something for me specifically. Um, I mean, even just with the gratitude circle that we did, the gratitude gathering, I did it for, a certain outcome, or I thought there would be an outcome that I was gonna get, or the intention behind it. I mean, the intention to feel and express gratitude, yeah, that for sure was met. But some of the side effects that happened, it wasn't it wasn't part of the intention. So, I don't know, I'm just sharing off the cuff.
yeah.
Uh, you
And
know,
sometimes it doesn't work the way we think it's going to work out. But for me, what I'm pointing to more is having an intention of how I'm going to show up because that creates for me, it creates a particular mindset. And the mindset can either have an opinion about something or be closed or open. So when I'm open with my mind and my heart and being receptive to whatever is in the flow of what I need to receive or learn, even if it's uncomfortable, like can I lean in? Can I meet the discomfort? Can I meet the conflict? Can I meet the resistance with an open attitude, with a willing spirit, with a or you know, or it might be in my highest interest to say no to a person because I need to take care of my own energy, um, for example. So my intention for me right now, I'm going to just say, is to be in integrity with my own uh, right and wrong, what feels good to me, what feels um, like where I'm not compromising my energy, where I'm really honoring what feels in alignment with where I'm at in the moment, and that might change depending on the days or where I'm at inside of myself. Because this is the thing, if the if I recognize that I'm not looking for a particular outcome, then there's more flow that can happen. But if I'm fixed and I need a particular outcome, um, then it can create more pressure and stress. Not to say that doesn't work. Setting goals is actually quite helpful for me sometimes. It's like, okay, I'm focusing my attention to accomplish something. But I can do it without the stress of how I think it should be. And then letting it more, like you use the word allowing, I think you did anyway, allowing more the effortlessness that you were pointing to. And I connect effortlessness with allowing allowing things to happen more spontaneously, fluid, even conversations, even if
Like this.
yeah, even if I feel like someone's coming at me, like I might say something, I'm like, can we take a breath? Can we slow down? Can we just drop in for a moment? And just that can release a lot of the stress or tension.
So, I was just curious about your process when you said being open-minded. Like, what does that actually, how do you actually achieve? Because, you know, there's experiences, I'm sure, of bumping up against someone who's got a closed mind or like fixed mind, rigid. So what is your how do you open your mind?
Well, technically, what my process is going behind the mind. It's not even about the mind, it's going behind the mind into what I call presence. So, presence is more actually neutral. The mind has duality and opinions about things. And so, when I'm listening behind the mind, I can just listen and understand what people are saying from what they're saying without, I might have an opinion, but then I can say, okay, I have an opinion about it, but really it's about understanding another person where they're at. And I can have an opinion about it if I want, but it might not be helpful to interject my opinion.
So
So,
then
mhm.
are you saying that having having an open mind means not having an opinion or having an opinion but not not or being open to change?
Yeah, I would say an open mind for me is receiving other people's points of view, even if it's different from mine. I don't have to agree with it. And understanding that then I can choose how to respond from that space.
So like being neutral and accepting.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I might get something from it too.
From
Even
what?
um, like for example, I had an interesting moment. I walk the dogs in the morning. I get up at like 5 o'clock because it's really hot right now in Tucson, Arizona. And um, I've walked this loop for years and years. And there's someone that lives on the land um, that said, would you kindly choose a different route because I would like to reclaim my privacy on this land. And it's just a little part of the road that I walk the dogs, and I have dogs on the leash, and we're quiet, we're not like rambunctious or anything. Or so she asked me to find a different route, and I'm like, okay. For my initial response was, gosh, that's weird. What's her deal? And then I understood, that she was just asserting her will to create privacy in the space where she's staying. She's living there, and the owner of the property is away right now, and he's okay with me and us taking the that route. But it sounds like she isn't, and she blesses the land in the morning and has her own routine and everything. And then one time I saw her doing it, and I didn't seem it seemed like she was friendly. So I might not agree with what she's doing and how it impacts me, but I will address the situation. And I apologized, and I didn't realize it was such a big deal for her, and said I will choose a different route, and now I do a different route. So it's like being open-minded is also receiving other people's opinions and experiences, so I can understand from a different point of view what maybe she's going through, how my presence of walking the dogs through her property, or the property that she's staying on, is affecting her. So that's what I mean by open-minded. It's just, it's like, I should, sort of entitlement can come in if I'm not open-minded. And then maybe judgment, that creates sort of disconnect. Now, I feel like this shift that we're going through, this consciousness shift, is we're learning how to hold opposing views at the same time without making it wrong or right. And also offering, respect and kindness, even when there's differences or, challenges. I think a huge component of that is just really seeing things from other people's point of view. And every person has different experiences from where they're standing from. And, if we could just do that as a society, wow, that would be amazing. I think there would be a lot more understanding and connection than there is sort of division and judgment.
Yeah, I think, yeah, that's, part of what we are evolving out of as a humanity, and why it's so difficult right now for some people. Uh, and also, like, for me, it's difficult in ways of like, okay, well, I've been practicing, that way of, being in, uh letting go of my interpretation of things, and being okay with what is, and practicing forgiveness, and uh you know dropping back into the heart, and um being okay with things that most people wouldn't be okay with in their life, and being in the unknown. uh um just having this conversation is is therapeutic.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the importance of being willing to uh, be different, and uh, authentic, and courageous in some ways. And you know, maybe even naive sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And ask for grace when I've had to ask for grace time at times to um to preserve my integrity and my intention, because sometimes other people do get hurt or upset. And so yeah, it's an intricate dance. Yeah.
An intricate dance, and if everyone can remember to take a deep breath before they react, too, just to drop in and connect to what's real and to keep it inside, to keep it in connecting with their own experience and being able to share their own experience, releasing the blame. I'm writing a book right now. I'm almost complete. It's called The Permission Slip, and it's all about honoring yourself and living from your truth. And and the breath. I have a sticker on my computer that says "breathe." The breath is such a key component in the bridge between the mind and the heart. Just like taking that pause, slowing down and dropping in, and then connecting to the felt sense experience. The mind wants to figure everything out, and the heart and the body is attuned to a different frequency through the felt sense. And that's how it can find what's true. It can find what's right for it in the moment. So it doesn't have to shut down and contract and protect. That there's this beautiful gift that each one of us can offer. Can we stay open no matter what? Can we stay open even when there's disturbance? Can we stay open even if there's a disagreement? Can we stay open even if there is something that we don't like?
Oh, I just had to recently do that with my son. He's going through this challenging time, similar, just moving, and uh, left his job, and um, he had a traumatic brain injury, and now he's experiencing a lot of his I think his consciousness is coming back online, and he's starting to feel and have memories again, and he's really confronted in by his judgments about others, and also um anger, lots of anger and rage, lots of rage. And it's and I can see him fighting other people, but also fighting himself in the words that he says, like saying like, I, can't stand that person, or this person is this and this person is that. And then he'll say, and then he'll say the next thought, I don't care. I don't care. And so when you're, I don't know, it's really hard when it's someone that you love, like your son, and you want to help. Um, so it was a good practice for me to, like you said, take a breath and just be with his experience. And even though I might see it a different way, or see, have my ideas of what's going on really, and wanting to help him see it differently, uh, you sometimes you just have to be with what is, and
Mm-hmm.
and also be with the discomfort, um, because the mind is fixed.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a real practice of letting go of the outcome, and the practice of coming back to the moment each and every moment of what's happening now, what's real, what's really what's really in the space, not what I think, not what I hope for, not what should be because of my pre-programmed idea of something, but this whole thing of the practice of coming back to the moment. Coming back to the moment sounds funny, but returning to the moment of recognizing and re-recognizing what's here, what's here.
Yeah, it takes patience and practice.
And willingness, like willingness to have maybe uncomfortable conversations that are confronting, and that, what I've noticed has helped me in the last few days. I'm here with family, and family always can trigger us, and is just to slow down, drop in, and feel my feet on the ground, and feel the support from the ground. And when I can feel my anchor and my sense of centeredness, and I can open from there, from that sort of anchoring, it it's almost like anything then can come into my space. I might walk away and come back to regroup or um, restore my nervous system balance if it gets all like a little wobbly or agitated. So I think it's a time of really taking care of ourselves and our hearts and our minds, and just really working with the old experiences, the old programs that sort of try to kind of get in there, you know. Um, and I find it's quite a humbling process living from the heart, and really letting go of the need to be right, and really opening to understanding myself and others over being right or over getting it right. Working with this experience also of letting go of being perfect, or letting go of how I want it to be. Um, Pickleball is a good example. I play pickleball, and I really wanted to share some tips with my son. He's playing with me, and he wasn't in the same reference point. He wasn't in a receptive mood. Um, and then it took him a minute, and then he's like, "Okay, now I can play, and I'm better." I think he was trying to figure something out in his own way, and he wasn't needing extra support around how to improve. Let's put it this way. So he let me know, and for a minute I'm like grumble, 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 you know. But it's funny to watch it all happening, and then we had a great time, and I just like let him do his own thing, and I wasn't attached to winning. I was attached to enjoying playing, and I'm just having that intention of just letting go of the outcome of winning or being really competitive. Like, I just enjoy like what's here now. Like what just enjoy playing with Benjamin, playing with him, So that's what I did. It worked out well.
We can always find ways to catch ourselves.
Yeah. The awareness is really key of like where am I moving from? Am I moving from here, or am I moving from here? Moving from my heart, or moving from my mind?
It's hard to do when your emotions are activated.
Yep. That's why right now it's so important to regulate your nervous system, whether it's taking a nap or taking some inward time or taking a few breaths or going out in nature or like doing something different from your normal routine that maybe you wouldn't do, that's more rejuvenating or kind of resets you. So it's an important time for us to really take care of ourselves. And I've been resting quite a bit and really resetting myself in the next chapter of my life. And I know you are too. We have this thing about paralleling. We parallel a lot. So, any final words before I feel like we're coming to a close from this conversation? Do you feel like you would like to express anything else before we end this conversation?
Well, I was pursuing a PhD, started in 2018. Wow, almost 10 years ago. And I had a close relationship with my advisor, who's a really close friend now at the time. And I remember this inspired idea that came out of our conversation that we were having around my dissertation, and it was this this intention, awareness, and trust uh, process. And I don't know if it goes in that order, but the three of those aspects I feel like have been sort of a theme around, the intention to lead with the heart, uh, the intention to follow our desires, attention to focus on what we truly want, and the awareness that we need so that we can discern what's true for us, what's not true, what 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 we need to honor, what we need to listen to, what we need to create or establish boundaries around, what's mine, what's not mine. Uh, being awareness of of our new gifts, of our sensitivities, of our feelings, our emotions. Like awareness is like everything, and it's always happening in the moment. And then the trust is like, you know, trusting ourselves, trusting in our decisions, trusting in our choices, trusting in the moment, trusting our intuition, and trusting we can act on it, trusting in the unknown. Um, and I mean, that just kind of is like the circle that I'm living inside of, and continuously to refine and refine and refine, and and trusting in the heart, that heart is like, okay, well, I have to trust that my mind doesn't need to figure things out, doesn't need to analyze, doesn't need to, plan. I mean, there are times where it's necessary to plan, like, how I'm gonna, whatever, use the subway to get to the hospital today. And it's a tool, but it's not the sort of the focus on how I want to structure my everyday way of being, like the way of being is intention, awareness, trust, and then use my mind as sort of like a tool. Like I use chat, it's a tool,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't rely on it, and it doesn't bring me joy. It doesn't bring me fulfillment. It will, because it's a tool that I use. It contributes, but sort of like not my GPS system.
What would you
Or
say
the,
you really rely on as 100% reliability that is your sort of GPS?
I think it's how I feel,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and the quality of how I feel every day, the quality. Uh, and I think it's actually it's like the barometer is peace, you know? Like, do I have peace? Can I maintain peace? I mean, it's funny that I would never say like that's what I want, but even when you're experiencing joy, you can still have joy with peace, like it's peace, but there's also joy in the moment or whatever. And I could be at peace with, you know, feeling grief or, if I had, lost something or there can still be a sense of peace. Like, yeah, this is part of the human experience and it's okay to feel. So,
Yeah, I love that. I know Adi Ashanti talks about this in his book, Falling into Grace. I think it's actually the last couple pages of his book, and he talks about can you be in the center of the moment, even when there's disturbance happening all around, or conflict, or whatever that might disturb your peace or sense of presence. Can you still maintain that sense of peace or presence when life is happening all around? And that my friend is definitely a practice to is that's worth developing and deepening, because there's so much happening in the world, lots of things going on all the time, things to do, and even the mundane things of getting up, getting out of bed, getting dressed, doing the mundane things, it can enhance one's life when there's this quality of presence, this quality of peace behind it all, through it all. Uh,
it's funny because peace is like a piece, like a piece of something. Um, but I just realized as we're talking, like when you have that sense of peace in your way of being, you can be with more. Like you're more with everything.
yeah, there's
And
no
still,
resistance. Yeah, yeah.
so it's more like you're whole and not the piece, but you're the piece and the whole.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's it. I love that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be this or that. Okay, now I'm here, and it actually encompasses everything. Everything is included in the experience of being here now. That's something very profound, and we are all on this journey of learning to live from to live from the now, to live from this now expression of what I want to say now that feels right and true for me. That there is no sense of compromising. There's this sense of I can be me in spite of someone doesn't like it, or sometimes there's judgment, and I can still be me in all the human mess or the imperfection of what it means to be human. That there's this beauty in being unique and being open to what wants to come through, which is the unknown. And there, as you say, is this quality of wonder, like what's going to happen, curiosity, what's going to happen next. It's kind of like the innocence of a little child, Like, can we open to this space that's curious and has wonder? Because then there's this quality of liveness that never gets old. And you know exactly what I'm talking about, because the first time I met you, I felt it. You're such
Mm.
a magical, beautiful, fun spirit. And yeah, I just always appreciated the way you show up in the world.
And you as well.
Thank you for this beautiful journey of experiencing each other through the heart. And I hope the listeners got something from this conversation. and we'll be doing more in the future. So stay tuned, and many blessings to you, dear Heather, into your journey of the unknown and the ever unfolding of the mystery. I
Oh,
appreciate you, the way you live, and being a beacon of light in the world and an example of really deepening yourself and trusting in your heart and your spirit. So thank you, and many more adventures to come.
thank you so much. It was a pleasure to share.
Be well, my
Love
friend.
you.
Love you.